Hi, it's me, Anna. Even though I can't wait to share with you my next episode, which is about one of the best advice I have ever received, today I shared the conversation I had with Vaishali. She invited me into her podcast as a guest, and we talked about passion, motivation, how to handle future goals, how to look at time more positively, and in the end, we even talk a little bit about leadership. When I'm interviewed, my goal is to come up with new stuff, especially for you guys who have been with me for a longer time. I do repeat things that I believe are worth and important to repeat, so bear with me. Just one more note. This Wednesday, on the 24th of March, at noon, 12 o'clock CET time, I will be giving my Create Moments speech for free on my Zoom channel. This one is for everyone and it will be so much fun to see you there. You can register now for free here. And for now, enjoy this conversation with Vaishali, which, by the way, you can also find on YouTube. The links are in this text below. Have a lovely day, stay safe, and take care. Bye bye.
Hello, Anna. Very happy to have you on the show and really appreciate all your time and consideration being on the show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and I can't wait to talk about time with you.
Yeah, so I'm also really very excited and looking forward to it because two things that you stand for, which is like a time, being a time expert, as well as you believe in making a change. And I think that is really very interesting to see. So thank you so much, and it's all my pleasure to have you here. So the first section that we have is passion or interest. So how did you find your interest as a podcast host, and what motivates you to be a podcast host?
Okay, so first, the interest about time, maybe that is, I'm born with it. I'm born with the fascination for the topic time. And I think I knew early on that I can not do anything else than just to work on this topic and how people use their time and how to spend their time wisely. And already as a kid, I was very fascinated and by the limited time we have. You know, I remember the day when I found out that I don't know when I'm going to die and that nobody knows when we are going to die. And I was completely fascinated by it. And I knew, wow, but this changes everything. That this changes how I'm gonna live my life. And so this was very early on, and then I have been working with women who were diagnosed with breast cancer. So again, I was confronted with life and death and the limited time, and it has always fascinated me. And to become a podcast host or to create a podcast, that was when I gave speeches about time and on stages, and for me it was just not enough. And I had many the audience came and they said, do you have a book, we want more. And I thought, no, but I could write about time and I could publish this on a podcast. And this is how I created my podcast. And you also asked about the motivation, and I think I'm a very lucky person because I have a very strong internal motivation. So even though I love to sleep, but when the alarm clock goes off, I just can't wait to get up. I just can't wait to get up and create and to share it with the world. And because also a motivation, of course, is when you have clients or an audience or a community who they start to say, what you are doing is helping me, or what your thoughts about time is making me think about it. And this is just wow, you're lighting a fire when I hear this, that I just wanted to create more and more. And one of my mottos or mantras, if we talk about business, is really, I want to surprise my audience. And so this is what I try to do with the topic time.
Yep, yep. Thank you so much for sharing. And I would just add to that, actually, I visited your website and that is really very unique. The way you recorded your video as well, right? In extreme cold, in the snow, you are in that water actually. So I will definitely post the link to the website as well when the episode is out.
Thank you.
Moving towards our next section is about questions from the audience, where I have shortlisted a couple of questions for you. And the first question that we have is, how do you see time as a factor when it comes to bringing a change in the society?
Okay, so it's a beautiful and very important question, and I believe we could change even society by, for example, to become less stressed, less driven, if we would look at time in a different way. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do, because I think until now we look at time in a rather negative way, because we say we don't have time, and time is running away, and suddenly we have built a construction about time where we take time and we place it on a throne, and not everybody can have it. And so if you if you hear someone saying, oh yes, I have time, you think like, oh, but how did he get it? How did he get this gold medal? And I think that's it's the wrong way to look at time, because we all have the same amount. But we have built up a construction about time, and I mean, we have built this. I often say I would love to go there where we can be a little bit more timeless, that we are not chasing after something, because I mean, the time is just now. That's the only time that really exists is the now, is the moment with you. This now is for real. And but we are so future orientated, but I think we're going to talk about this later. But if we could look at time as at something that's always here, and that it is my responsibility to think about how I want to fill this time, what do I want to do with this time, that could be a change. I think that could be something where we would start to stress less, and also if we would think about, sometimes I really do think that there are people out there, they do live as if they have 1,000 years to live. And if we would start to think a little bit more about the limited time, then you change directly in your everyday life. You start to act differently. Maybe you're gonna take some things not too serious. And I mean, life is an adventure, and that's what it should be. And the time, as I said, we just don't know how much we have, and we should get a little bit away from this timing and planning and everything. I mean, of course we have to, but just not chasing after it all the time, because it's here already. Time is here right now. And another thing what I wanted to say about the change we could make, and also for society, is about, I mean, what has happened in the last years is that we have an explosion of possibilities. I mean, it's just crazy. Everything is possible. I mean, the internet is showing us that everything is possible, and there is so many areas and topics out there. And if you are a curious person like I am, then you're like, oh, wow, But on the one hand, you have the explosion of possibilities, but on the other hand, you just have your 24 hours. And I think also there we have to reduce not the possibilities, but our values and priorities. And I mean, just a little example, but I have a very clenched amount of priorities, very clenched. But this is a question I ask myself every single day. What am I saying yes to? And then I'm going to say yes to this one thing, which means I have to say no to the other things. And this is it's not always easy,
Mhm.
but when you say yes to one thing and you focus on this, that's where you can go deep. And when you go deep and profound, that's where you find treasures, and that's where you can start to build or create something which also with quality, and so to reduce the yes, 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 yes a little bit, and say yes to less, and but yeah, it's a very, it's a hard time to talk about time, or the area we live in right now. It's crazy, and but as I said, and the possibilities out there, we would love to have a life of 1,000 years to be able to do everything.
Yeah, that's it. And thank you so much for sharing. And we have one more interesting question actually under that segment, which is when people always think about future and what next, how can they change their attitude? How
Yeah.
factors like family, financial stability, or other responsibilities affect people? Do you think time manages people or people manage time?
Yeah. Okay. So first, the future. Yes, we are human beings, so it's also a cultural thing.
Mhm.
But there are cultures, I think we live in two countries where we are very future orientated, and that's how we grow up. What do you want to do when you get big, and one day you want to become, what do you want to become? So it's all about the future, and I think it's very good to have goals because they are a guidance.
Mhm.
But what I also see is that we are chasing goals, and the goal is always in the future. And so if we start to think about, oh, when I have done this, I'm gonna be this, and again, future thinking, then we're just not in the moment. We're just missing the present. And what I always say to people, how can you be a bit less future orientated? That is to tell yourself, to focus on the process which is happening now. So let's say you say, one day I will have written a book. Okay, so you have this goal in the future to have written a book, but now you have to get it into the now. What can I do today to get there?
Mhm.
So that is the question. And this question, what can I do today to get there? That brings the goal into your now. And this is how I like to work. And then now you're focused on the process
Mhm.
and not on the result, because the result is also in the future. And the only influence that we can have right now is on the process. Let's make it the best process you can do right now. Let's get the best workout today on what you can do. And yeah, and then so that was one part of the question. Then the factors like family, financial stability, other responsibilities. I believe everything has an impact on us. I think also that these these mentioned factors, it's part of life.
Mhm.
But the other thing is, we should not forget that we are human beings and we cannot do or have everything. It's this will make us very unhappy. So there again, it's about decision making. Which responsibilities do I have? Which one am I all right to take? Um, and the other thing is I always say, if you have responsibilities in different um, areas, try to have fun in there. I wrote a few lines about this. Let's talk about financial stability because you mentioned it.
Okay.
The first question I would ask myself is, okay, first, how much money do I need? It's not about more. It's how much money do I need? And so like, what's the minimum to feel stable? And the second question would be, how do I get there? And then the game is on. I mean, now it's just becoming a game, and you think, okay, there are so many possibilities to earn money. How can I do it? I mean, I had extremely bad financial problems once in my life, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And but it also got me there, where I became a little bit more entrepreneurs, where I thought, okay, how do I get out of this hole? How can I earn money? What can I do to get money in? And then you're starting to look for solutions. And so even this, it should be a challenge. It should be, I like to say, it's a game. But then same with family, let's have fun in there. Yeah, we have a lot of responsibilities, but I think we should try to turn them there where at least we enjoy them. We have to enjoy them. And the last question you asked, do you think time manages people, or people manage time? I think that's exactly the thing about how we look at time. If we think that time manages us, I believe we are more a victim. And but if we talk about time management, then absolutely, yes, we must manage time. We must manage, and again, what fits in there into those 24 hours. And often we try to place too many things in there, and then we go to bed and we think, oh, I didn't do this and that I didn't do that, and this makes us very unhappy. So yes, we have to manage time, and we have to think about it realistically, how much space and place is for what in there. So yeah. And
that's really great, actually. And the one valid point I would like to mention, it specifically highlighted over here, the way you mentioned is very important, actually. Creating that path or creating that journey towards your goal is very important aspect when it comes to managing your time. So if you want to reach to certain goal, definitely you have to start in now and with the small steps to reach there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And our next segment is a fun segment. So here I'm going to give you 3 words which are moreover associated with your profile, and you have to tell me what comes to your mind immediately. It can be an abstract, like, short definition, or a replacement keyword also for that particular thing. So the first word we have is time.
I love it. I
word.
Yeah. I love it. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. I love time. And yeah.
I think experiences also trains you, right? The way you mentioned it, that you had the experience of death, near to death. So it's moreover like you understood the importance that how much you have to utilize in now rather than worrying about the future. So thank you so much. And the next word we have is future.
Oh, the future. Yeah, the future. I've never been a future-oriented person. It has always, it was just too abstract. I didn't know what it means. It was really, I mean, when you have a near-death experience, when you just dying from one day to the other, you think like, okay, so I mean, you never know what future brings you, and then it's hard to start to believe in future. And so I've always been a very present orientated person, but I had to become I had to start to be all right with future. And my husband actually, we talked about future very early in our relationship, and I said, oh, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive in a month. And he looked at me and he said, oh wow, are you thinking like this about your future? And he said, that's not good. I said, no, I know. And he said, you have to dream. the future is about dreams, about visions. And then I suddenly thought, wow, yes, I want to have dreams. And he started to make me dream again. And so future for me now is a synonym for dreams.
Wow, wow, that's really good one. And the next word is career.
Career.
Yeah.
Career, that's a funny thing. I never had I never knew exactly. I knew that I'm going to be working with time, but I never had a career path built up in my head, which is very funny.
Mhm.
So when I plan for 3 months, I know exactly what I'm going to be doing the next 3 months.
Uh-huh.
And 3 months, I'm going to sit back down and I'm going to look at my plan, and maybe I'm going to change it. Maybe new opportunities have come in. I'm going to look at them. I'm going to think, to which one am I going to say yes? To which one am I going to say no? Maybe I'm just going to carry on my 3 months plan, which I'm having right now. And so I'm always planning in 3 months, and my whole career has been built up like this. Today I'm having a podcast, and I'm writing a book, and I'm giving online speeches. In a year, when we talk about future, who knows, maybe I will be doing a documentary movie about time. Maybe I will be writing another book about the best time or the worst time or whatever. I love to my career, to build up a career by the opportunity, to believe that opportunities will come in. I don't want to control it too much. And I see that this functions also, that if you have a plan, but then you have to be very open that the opportunities can come in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. Thank you so much. And I would love to see your documentary in the future. Of course. Uh, moving towards our next section is about exploring your career, work, and volunteering. I have shortlisted one question under that segment, which is, what do you think is next on your career path, and what does the future look like for the time expert?
Yeah, I think I answered a lot with actually the last answer, and but yeah, I mean, once again, to say, I had a big. I was working for a company. I was already the time expert
Uh-huh.
when I was hired by a big company, and they had a big project for me, and um, I was very happy, excited about this project, and I went there twice a month, and I stayed for 1 week, and I should be working with a team and talk, but in this more philosophical way with time. And after 3 times, I saw they just wanted me for having time management, time and tools, and I felt, oh no, this is not going in the right direction. And it should have been, if we talk about career and work, you say yes to something, and suddenly you feel, oh no, this is not what I want to do. Then I remember I knew I'm going to be the biggest disappointment for this guy, but I just couldn't. This is also again with time. I was unhappy. I was in an unhappy situation.
Uh-huh.
And if you think about the limited time, you cannot be in an unhappy situation for too long. So I thought, how am I going to tell him this? And I remembered I was like the CEO, and I remember I was asking him for a meeting, and I came in there and he said, yeah, look, Anna, we have to look at this and this. And I said, no, stop, wait, I need to show you something.
Uh-huh.
And I did a picture. I draw a flower with a hanging head.
Mhm.
Now the flower was dying, and I said, this is me. And And he looked at me and he said, "What?" And I said, I'm not happy. We cannot continue. I cannot do this. You want something that I cannot give you." And this is maybe, something for the listeners out there. It's don't stay for too long in an unhappy situation. We have to try to change this. And career, it's just, you never know where it brings you. And if you are open-minded to try different things and to say, okay, so this didn't work, but maybe something else works, then your career is going to be a ride. It's going to be an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope my career is going to continue to be a big adventure.
Yes, for sure. Actually, I can see that. And moving towards our next section is about tips and advice. You have already mentioned so many things which are very valuable and insightful for the audience. But just to summarize in this particular section, any tips or advice would you like to give to the students or professionals who are looking to build their career as a podcast host and looking this as their long-term career option?
Get really good at it. It's like dig deep, go deep into it, and start small, and just learn, try to be very curious on learning on this topic, and try to here as well, don't take it too serious, but you need to have fun doing it, because just if you have fun, the others will feel this energy, and then you're gonna suddenly have an audience and they want of this energy. And so I think you have to be very also curious to grow, and just try.
Yes, that's a really very good one. And we are moving towards the closure of the show. So the last section we have is about leadership. So you are truly leading your area of interest. So what is your leadership style, and any specific leader that you always follow and admire, and why?
I you know how I started many years ago. I was very interested in management, in leading people, because I had a little team, and very early on in my career. And I remember that I was reading every book I could get from Peter Drucker. Peter Drucker was a management guru in the 80s.
Wow.
And I loved his style. It was not about concepts and theories. It was more about how to treat people, how to have a good communication, and to focus on the strengths. And it was the first time I really heard this kind, and I loved it. So Peter Drucker was something I started with, and then I started to look at people who are I love leaders who have a calm, a calm and a strength. I had a boss. He was just the best guy, and I mean, the company could have a crisis, and he was just a rock. He was never worried. He was never getting mad. He was just this solid rock, and I loved that. And I always thought, if I'm gonna have a team, or that if I'm gonna work with people as I do today, first of all, we're all on the same level. That's for me always very important. And the other thing is to be kind to people. That's, I mean, of course, I know, but to always keep also this calm, and to tell the people. I love to tell the people, it's all fine, it's gonna be good. It's and we're all in the same boat, and we have to row together. And there is I love this also about community. And so leadership is I think very interesting. And of course, communication, and honest communication. So And fun, have fun, laugh together. We have to laugh together.
That's very true. Actually, you should feel the happiness as well as
Yeah,
kindness when you are around that kind of a people or set of people or the leaders.
yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing. It was great connecting with you virtually as well as talking to you more about time as well as how do you lead your area of expertise. So thank you so much for all your time.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was such a great pleasure to be here with you, and also to get to know your listeners and your audience. This is it's me. I have to say thank you.
Thank you so much and take care. Bye for now. Before we end, we are going to end it with a closure quote from Leo Christopher, which says, "There's only one thing more precious than our time, and that's who we spend it on." So, on that quote, we are closing this episode. See you guys in the next episode. Until we meet, happy leading. Let's lead together. Stay safe. Bye for now.